As Mexico City prepares to co-host the 2026 FIFA World Cup, you can't escape its unofficial mascot. The city has embraced the axolotl, covering subway cars, murals, and merchandise with the smiling, brightly colored face of this native salamander. The axolotl is a biological marvel. It is a neotenic amphibian, meaning it reaches adulthood while keeping juvenile traits, like living entirely underwater. But its true superpower is extraordinary cellular regeneration. If an axolotl loses a limb, it grows a perfect replacement. It can even regrow severed spinal cords and damaged heart and brain tissue. To survive, it relies on those distinctive feathery external gills and highly permeable skin to pull oxygen directly from the water around it. Its biology leaves no barrier between its internal organs and its aquatic environment. That extreme sensitivity makes the current situation incredibly grim. While tourists buy stuffed axolotls on the streets, biologists have spent the last 2 years conducting massive ecological censuses across the city. They failed to find a single living axolotl in the wild. The species holds a critically endangered status, but the reality on the ground is worse. Scientists now consider the wild population functionally extinct within its only natural habitat. The face of the city's World Cup branding is effectively an ecological ghost. We are celebrating a cute cartoon to mask a massive environmental failure. The axolotl is endemic to exactly one place on Earth, the remnants of ancient Lake Texcoco, which today exists as the Xochimilco canal system in southern Mexico City. For centuries, they thrived alongside a sustainable Aztec farming innovation called chinampas. These floating agricultural islands filtered the water and created a perfectly balanced micro-ecosystem, giving the salamanders dark, clean channels to hunt and breed. This chart tracks the axolotl population density per square kilometer in those canals over recent decades. As recently as 1998, researchers recorded a healthy baseline of roughly 6,000 wild axolotls packed into every square kilometer. Then, as historical wetlands were systematically drained to accommodate explosive urban sprawl, the habitat collapsed. By 2014, that density number had plummeted to just 36. And during the 2024 to 2026 census window, the data line officially flatlined at 0. An animal with the biological machinery to regenerate its own heart was entirely defenseless against the rapid, systemic destruction of its home. That skin-breathing biology became a fatal flaw when the city began routing untreated wastewater directly into the canal system. The axolotls were forced to absorb heavy metals and raw sewage directly into their bloodstream. Simultaneously, the ecologically vital chinampas are being actively destroyed. Floating farms that once sustained amphibians are being paved over for concrete infrastructure and new soccer pitches to satisfy urban expansion. What began as small-scale ecological tourism has swollen into unmanageable mass tourism. The canals are now choked with diesel-powered party boats, a problem sharply intensified by the massive influx of visitors preparing for the 2026 matches. Biologists studying Xochimilco have repeatedly warned that pushing heavy foot traffic into highly fragile wetlands accelerates their collapse. International sporting mega-events demand heavy infrastructure and massive crowds, frequently requiring local biodiversity to be sacrificed to make room for a global spectacle. You might point out that millions of axolotls are technically alive today. They are bred globally in sterile laboratories to research cancer treatments, and they are wildly popular in domestic aquariums. But biologists define this as ex situ, or off-site conservation, and it has a strict limitation. Breeding an animal in a glass box in another country does absolutely nothing to save the wild population if its natural ecosystem is dead. This brings us to greenwashing. Plastering a cute, endangered amphibian across stadium advertisements creates a false narrative of environmental pride while actively distracting the public from the city's severe ecological negligence. Putting a dying animal's face on a t-shirt doesn't protect it. It turns a tragic loss of biodiversity into a hollow marketing gimmick. Preventing total extinction requires unglamorous, difficult work. It means strictly capping the number of tourist boats allowed in Xochimilco, physically treating the wastewater entering the canals, and restoring the Aztec chinampas. If the 2026 World Cup wants to leverage the axolotl, The massive financial power and global visibility of the event must be redirected away from superficial art projects and channeled directly into heavy, sustained habitat restoration. Real conservation requires protecting natural ecosystems and ensuring clean water. We cannot just pave over wetlands and replace the species we lose with smiling logos.